All right, hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Civic Mandate. So today we're going to be talking about Gavin Newsom and his chance of uniting and leading the Democrat Party to victory in 2028. I'm not making any claims yet, but we're going to be talking about the likelihood of that and what he'd be up against if he actually was going to kind of shoot for that 2028 presidential run. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Share it with people, and of course, make sure to watch our other videos. We would really appreciate it. All right, we're gonna get straight into the episode right after this intro. All right, so first off, I do want to just talk about the 2028 playing field. So obviously, we as Republicans have Trump in office right now. So a lot of what's going to happen in the midterms and, of course, in 2028 is going to depend on how Trump does as president in these next 2 years. So really, we won't know. Generally, I would say we're going to have a rough go of it during the midterms. A lot of my friends are a little bit more optimistic about it. Obviously, if you guys have watched our Gen Rising episodes, Lane is pretty optimistic about the midterms. Personally, I feel a little black-pilled about it. I don't think we're going to do very well. But like I said, so a lot of Trump's administration is going to kind of affect the 2028 presidential run. So I think we'll get into candidates he may be running against later, but for now, just as a general overview of the Republican Party, I would say if this fracture continues in the Republican Party, he might have a good shot at kind of pulling together the more moderate conservatives, or even just like moderate and the moderates. He might be a good middle candidate, which is kind of funny because he's not really, but we'll go into that a little bit later too. So yeah, 2028 could be a very, very good time for Gavin Newsom. It could be ripe for the taking if he plays his cards right. And of course, if Trump doesn't have a good last 3 years of his administration. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of get into Gavin Newsom's recent political moves and what this means. So Gavin Newsom, of course, started his podcast where he brought on conservative leaders like Steve Bannon. He brought on Charlie Kirk before Charlie's assassination. And he obviously was kind of trying to make a lunge for the middle. Obviously, Gavin Newsom is known for being sleazy. He's known for being a bit of a scumbag and not actually believing what he says. He'll say anything to get elected. But I think his push for the middle is kind of working. This is just my kind of guesses from what I'm seeing online. It looks like what he's doing is actually starting to attract a bit of an audience. People are actually starting to kind of look towards him as a future candidate for the Democrat Party in 2028. And I think it's just because people are so done with these partisan politics. They want someone, there's a desire for someone who is in the middle, who can unite the nation. Whether or not that's actually attainable, I don't know. All I know is that Gavin Newsom is not the uniting figure. But it doesn't matter because it matters what the public think. So if the public does think that he is a uniting figure, then of course he'll get elected. So I do see a little bit of a shift towards that. I do see him starting to get a bit of an audience from his kind of jump for the middle ground here. Something else we see, though, is that he is alienating kind of the extremist left. The extremist left is calling him a sellout, especially after he had like Charlie and Steve Bannon on his podcast. So I definitely think that by moving kind of towards the middle, he's going to lose all of the left. Or at least a more extreme portion of the left that doesn't like this sort of unitary politics. But question of whether or not that would be enough to get him to lose the election is it's a completely different question in of itself, because I personally am not quite sure how much of the left is this extremist faction anymore. So perhaps it would be a kind of good sacrifice to make. You lose all of the crazy leftists, but then you gain the nice moderates, and that might become a stable base for him. Now, I don't know how well he would be at getting voters out. Obviously, there is a major portion of the nation that just doesn't come out to vote. So obviously Trump was very good at getting these kind of first-time voters or never voters. Like he was good at getting them out and voting. He kind of like created this social contagion almost, and Trump was quite good at that. Now the question of whether Gavin Newsom would be able to have that same effect and be able to get the people who don't normally vote out to vote, I would say no. I think there would be a lower turnout vote for the 2028 election, especially with Trump not running. I don't see a conservative who's able to do that either. Now, Gavin Newsom, 100% would be able to he would be able to make a new base for the Democrat Party. I think that's something that he would be able to do, is get these moderates and bring them onto his side. I think that's 100% possible. Now, question of whether or not he actually live up to his campaign promises is probably a no. Most people would probably vote for him simply because they would think that he is trying to unite the nation. Obviously, he would probably end up dividing the nation and not uniting it, but it would be what he promises. And obviously, he's a good speaker. He can really draw people in, and he knows how to play politics. So I think in the end, it really just kind of hinges on what Trump's next 3 years look like in office, whether he follows up on his promises, and whether he looks good in the eyes of the people who ultimately are the arbiters of the law. And now to get into this next portion of the video, I think it's important that we talk about the 2028 contenders for the conservative movement. I would say J.D. Vance is a big one, Marco Rubio. Personally, I think in the next 3 years, there could probably be someone or really next 2 years, there could probably be someone else who comes up. I see Rubio and Vance as the biggest ones. Maybe DeSantis would make a run. But really, I think Gavin would win against DeSantis. I think he would probably win against JD. I think it'd be closer. But I think Rubio would be a pretty even match for him. And maybe if you had a JD Rubio or Rubio JD, I think that would be a really good kind of match against, I don't know, who you would run with Newsom. I don't know. So that'd be another thing. Who would Newsom run as his running mate? I don't know. But definitely tell me what you guys think. Who would be the best pick for Gavin if he were to pick a vice president? I can't really think of one right now. Not gonna lie, I don't know much about the Democrat Party right now. But so for the Republicans, I would say that Rubio and Vance would probably put up the biggest fight against Newsom. The question would then be, who would these left-wing extremists even vote for? I don't even know. They'd probably try to run AOC if AOC doesn't take Bernie's spot up in New York. So, yeah, I think there are definitely some good candidates that the Republicans could run that have a chance of beating the Democrats if they run Newsom. But then again, we do have to ask the question, would the Democrats even run Newsom with him being not as extreme as the base seems to be currently? So I think if Newsom really did want to run, he would probably end up just creating a completely new base for the Democrat Party, which of course Democrats don't like having a open primary anymore, so that might work. Yeah, in terms of the odds of Newsom actually winning and kind of bringing back a second age to the Democrat Party in the 2000s, I would say I don't really think it's very possible. I think the Republicans will manage to pull through regardless of what happens in Trump's administration. I think we'll be able to pull through, find a good candidate, and really just shatter Newsom. I think most people understand, even if you're simply a moderate, you do understand that Newsom is a scumbag and really does not live up to his promises. He's a hypocrite. I think most people can acknowledge that. So hopefully Republicans are able to get their stuff together and we are able to actually win a race against Newsom, which I think is highly possible. But besides that, really just, guys, tell me your thoughts down below. Do you think Newsom has the ability to unite the Democrat Party? I'm going to say no, but I'm always wrong in your guys' eyes. So tell me what you think. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. No editing in the end or anything. I'm just going to post this as is. Just some of my thoughts I was having. Literally woke up today and I was like, would Gavin Newsom be able to unite the Democrat Party? So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day. Make sure to check out some of our other content. I put out some content for Thanksgiving. It's going to be coming out Wednesday. I think we got a YouTube short coming out Wednesday, and I posted one over the weekend as well. We do have a new episode coming out about colonialism. Definitely make sure to check that out when it does come out. Make sure to hit the notification button so you never miss any of our uploads. Hope you guys have a great day, and God bless.